My name is Mark Abney. Last year, y'all did a survey. You remember the survey? I'm going to do a survey real quick. If you are a farmer, please raise your hand. Awesome. Good. Because that's who I want to talk to mostly. When they asked me to do this, I thought, okay, well, if I was a farmer and I was in Destin, Florida, and I was going to sit in a meeting and listen to a peanut entomologist, what would I want him to say? Okay. Weather report, tide chart, and fishing report, right? That's what I'd want to hear. But what I'm going to do is probably tell you maybe not what you want to hear, but some things that I hope you need to hear. And let's see if we can get this to work. And we're going to talk about some current issues. I'm going to talk about what I would call some big picture issues in peanut insect management. And then we'll talk about some things maybe you'll take back to the farm and think about for the next couple of months of this growing season. The first thing that's kind of a big issue in peanuts is insecticide resistance. We rely on insecticides to manage insects. That's just the way it is. And some of you, I'm sure, have heard, if you haven't experienced, the issues with thrips resistance to neonicotinoid insecticides. And it was pointed out, I'm going to do something here. It was pointed out to me in Decatur County. Decatur County 2 years ago, I said neonicotinoid insecticide. And the grower said, I don't know what that means. That means Admire Pro or any of those generic imidacloprid products that you might be putting in furrow as a liquid, or thiamethoxam that might be on the seed. Those are the neonicotinoids. Okay? For real, there is resistance in thrips populations to those products. So as we move more and more to putting liquid in furrow insecticides for thrips, be aware that you don't want to throw away those granular hopper boxes off your planters, because all that chemistry is the same. There's really not anything coming along that I know of that we're going to replace those liquids with another liquid. If we get in a situation where those products don't work anymore, we're back to using a granular in furrow, okay? So you need to be aware of that. The next one is caterpillars, and everybody in this room knows you can't kill a tobacco budworm with a pyrethroid. Resistance is for real. It happens, and sometimes we just change what we're doing because of resistance. The last few years I've been getting calls about the diamides. These are things like belt, which we don't have anymore, or Prevathon and Besiege, okay? There is documented resistance in soybean loopers to those products, but we've not had any problems in Georgia. But what we have had some problems with is coverage issues that people mistake for resistance. We're driving 16 miles an hour through the field, putting 7 gallons of water. We've basically got an airplane on the ground. And when you've got a caterpillar that's way down in the canopy, like a soybean looper, you can't expect to get 100% control immediately. So we just got to set our expectations. But insecticide resistance is real. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. We can try to manage for it as best we can, but just know that it's there. What can you take home from that? Just be aware of it, right? Don't throw your hopper boxes away, okay? Another big issue that we're facing with insecticides is regulation and registration. You can sit here and say, look, I know about that. I'm sitting in this room. I can't do anything about it. Move on so we can go on and get to the next thing. But there actually are some things you can do, and it's really important. I don't know how much you keep up with it, but a couple of years ago, a product that we used, chlorpyrifos, was being re-reviewed by EPA. I would have bet you anything that product wouldn't be available for use today. It still is, but I can promise you it won't be at some point in the future, right? But as a grower, as a person in the industry, when these products come up for re-regulation, it is really important that when somebody tells you to go on EPA's website and make a comment, that's important. You should do it. Acephate, orthene is under re-registration, re-review right now. If you grow cotton, it's probably more important than if you grow peanuts. Y'all need to go on EPA's website and make a comment about orthene, acephate. That's a big deal, right? A lot of you probably spray that on your cotton for thrips, and some of you spray it on peanuts. So those are things we got to be real world stuff that you need to know. Nobody wants to think about it, but it's there. The other thing is registration. There aren't a whole lot of new active ingredients available for peanuts, okay? Especially for soil pests. And that leads me to this. Here's a current issue. You may agree with this or not, but I can tell you anecdotally that my phone has rang more in the last 2 years about soil insects than it did the first 3 years I was back in Georgia. Things like southern corn rootworm, which is a wet weather pest, an irrigated field pest, wireworms, which don't care if it rains or not, and peanut burrower bug, which we've heard about, okay? I don't know why these things have become seemingly more important. More consultants, more growers, more county agents are calling me about these pests. Guess what? These 3 insects pest groups right here, we only have one AI that's registered for use to control these things. Anybody know what it is? Chlorpyrifos, right? That's the only AI we got, and we probably won't have it much longer. Right? What can you do about it? I don't know what we can do about it. But these are the kinds of things that we're working on in our program, trying to come up with alternatives to control some of these things. But that's a big deal right now in terms of soil insect problems. If you don't scout your peanuts, guess what? You probably don't even know you have these till the end of the season. And that leads me into this. Okay, something to take home with you, something that if you're growing peanuts, some stuff to watch out for right now when you get home, some things to walk the field. What are you looking for? We know that we're going to have some caterpillars. Insect pressure right now in 2018 has been as light as it's been in my time in Georgia since 2013. 2013 was light. 2018 has been light so far. Okay. But there are some caterpillars in the field. Corn's drying down. We're going to see some corn earworms moving in. If you're not scouting, if you haven't walked your fields, you need to be walking your fields. If you don't have a scout, you need to be out there. Lesser cornstalk borer. In Georgia, I saw more fields flooded with dead spots, cotton and peanut fields flooded driving down here this year than I normally see drying down, being too dry, right? They was wet, they've died out from being flooded. Lesser cornstalk borer is not supposed to like that kind of condition, but I'm getting 2 calls a week, every week, about somebody finding lesser cornstalk borers in peanuts in a year where I didn't think they would be around. So be looking for that one. And then if it does turn dry, 2-spotted spider mite is one you want to watch for. You don't want to do anything that'll flare spider mites. Things like pyrethroids on dry land peanuts will flare spider mites. We don't want to do that. If you do have spider mites, you want to catch them early. We don't have good products to control spider mites in peanuts. So you want to catch them early when you can still spot spray if you can. Those are some big picture things. Here's something you can take home. This is just a tell them what you told them slide, but I want to make this point. Regular scouting will prevent management mistakes. Almost half of the growers at this meeting last year took that survey, said they don't scout the peanuts. I take that kind of personally, right? At every meeting in Georgia, if you're a Georgia grower, you hear me say, you ought to think about scouting your peanuts. You can make an awesome crop of peanuts without a scout, but you can absolutely reduce your risk of making mistakes. You will reduce the number of mistakes you make if you got a scout and you know what's going on in the field and you base your decisions on that. That's all I got. Thank you.